Firstly, I would like to say thank you to the press for responding to my request to have a PC. And this PC is about certain issues which we have been able to resolve. There are 4 different things I want to mention here. I think you know about the ECRL. It has been agreed by the company in China that we reduce the cost by 20 billion. That's a very substantial sum of money, 20 billion ringgit. There is also the return of the money that has been paid because of the contract says that you pay on time as scheduled instead of following the work done. So since we have paid them more than we should, up to the point where they have finished their work, they are returning to us 1 billion. That makes it 20 billion. And we have other means of reducing the cost along the way, and we are working on that. That is the ECRL. Then we have the FELDA scheme. We have worked out how to settle the problem of FELDA. As you know, FELDA money has been taken through FGV, where before the settlers would get about more than $1 billion to be distributed among them as a result of running the estates belonging to the settlers. But after selling or leasing the land to FGV, now elder settlers get only 250 million, and that's not enough for the settlers. The government has been helping the settlers because they need to be helped, of course, because they have somehow rather incurred a lot of loans for the replanting, etc. During the replanting period, they get no income, so FELDA advance to them the income on condition that they pay when the plants bear fruit. When they have an income, they should pay, because what was extended to them during the time when they were replanting is a loan. It's not a gift, it's a loan. And but some settlers, unfortunately, after FELDA has replanted and palms have begun to bear fruit, they take the fruit and give it away to private the plants for producing the oil from the fruit. Basically, they are taking fruit which doesn't belong to them, but they are taking it and selling it and taking all the profits. The plant, of course, pay a good price, but then this is fruit that doesn't belong to the settlers. There are some settlers who did that, and of course they have more money, but they are not paying the loans that they incur during the time when the replanting is on and the trees have not produced any fruit just yet. So that will be settled, because we have worked out how to deal with this problem. And of course now we are going to serve notice on the oil palm plant that they cannot take fruits that come from FELDA, because these are stolen fruits. So we hope that in that way we will be able to collect more oil and sell the oil in order to benefit the settlers. There are other minor issues that have been resolved by the government. And today I think the Felda problem has, we see a way to deal with Felda problem, and it is going to benefit the settlers once again. Of course, our agricultural policy now is not to go for one type of product, because we have people who would plant only palm trees and expect to extract to make money or to have an income from palm trees. They tried to copy the British who brought oil palm here, but the British have huge estates up to 20,000 acres, and therefore they can make a profit being run professionally. But these people have got only 2 or 3 acres, and that's not enough to give them a return. From now on, we want to amalgamate all the holdings of the settlers and run them as big estates. Various units will be created and run them as big estate by professional planters. So that is the solution for this oil palm problem. Then we have the tabung haji. As you know, over the years, the tabung haji was not properly managed, in the sense that they take the deposits of the people intending to perform the pilgrimage and pay it to the pilgrims as a subsidy for their performance of the pilgrimage. Sometimes the subsidy is bigger than the actual amount saved by the depositors. Of course, this cannot go on forever, because if the people stop putting money in tabung haji, there will be no money to pay off as for subsidy to the people who are going to perform the pilgrimage. At the same time, they take the same money, the money that has been deposited with tabung haji, and declare dividends. Actually, they were not making any money, at least not much profit, but they take the deposits and pay as dividends. And so a lot of people keep money there because they see a lot of returns from their investment there. Now we have a problem. If we say we tell this thing with some solution, people will withdraw money from tabung haji. If we say that the money is used to subsidize pilgrims as well as declare dividends, then nobody will want to put their money there. But in order to ensure that they keep on putting money in tabung haji, we have to show that we can pay some dividend. But the dividend is very small. It's mainly coming from the government. This means that people who want to perform the Hajj would still be willing to put their money with tabung haji, because it will be well managed, not like before, where the deficits of the pilgrims were used to subsidize the pilgrim and also to declare dividend. Of course, the number of people who have put their money in tabung haji is very big. Tabung haji managed billions of dollars, billions of ringgit, but this is not the proper way to manage. They need to invest, but they should invest and take the dividends and pay to the depositors the amount that they gain by way of dividend. But they are taking the deposits and paying. So the government is going to help Felda tabung haji, so that there is a return on the investment. By putting money in tabung haji, they would get a return. but that return will come from dividends due to the investment by tabung haji. And finally, I would like to read this thing because there is a project called Bandar Malaysia, where there was the airfield before, Sungai Besi airfield. That we were under the impression that was given entirely to a Chinese company, and we heard that suddenly the Chinese company had to withdraw because of certain decision made by the government then, and they offered it to another Chinese company, Wanda, who has the money, but at that time the Chinese government doesn't allow any more money to be invested outside the country. So as a result, neither Wanda nor the first company is doing anything. But when we investigate, we find that company which was doing the preliminary work on Bandar Malaysia, actually it's not the Chinese company, it's a government company, a Malaysian government company, because the Malaysian government has got 40% of the share in that company, and the other part of it is some private investors. The Chinese company which invested in the Bandar Malaysia takes up only 24%. So it is not a Chinese company, it is a Malaysian company, it is practically a government company. So because of that, we have changed our stance and we want to reinstate Bandar Malaysia to the company that first bid for it. They won the bid, and I would like to read here the statement that has been made by the government. After due deliberation by the Cabinet on 17th April 2019, the government has decided to reinstate the Bandar Malaysia project that was abruptly terminated in May 2017. Bandar Malaysia will have a significant impact on Malaysia's economy and will serve as a global hub to further attract high-impact global finance, technology and entrepreneurial firms. The project is expected to generate tremendous impact on urban development for Malaysia. It will draw major international financial institutions, multinational corporations, and Fortune 500 companies. In line with the government's policy of ensuring that such a development will be people-centric and will add substantive value to the economy, the plan of the project has been changed, and it will include the construction of a People's Park, 10,000 units of affordable homes, Bhumiputra participation throughout the project, and priority for the use of local content in the construction process. These measures will no doubt add further value to the economy via substantive job creation, etc. The government welcomes the commitment by CREC. IWH is the Malaysian company. CREC, of course, is a Chinese company, to make an advance payment of 500 million in addition to the original deposit of 741 million to be paid within 60 days from the date that the government officially reinstates the project. What happened was that when the government terminated the first contractor with the intention of giving it another contractor, this contractor, the original contractor, had already paid to the government about $800 million for the land and for the development. And that represents a small percentage of what is due to the government. Since they were terminated, they have the government had written the deposit back to them. But now they will have to give that deposit back again to the government. And the first tranche is about 500 million of the original sum of 741 million to be paid within 60 days from the date that the government officially reinstates the project. Bandar Malaysia will be a trailblazer. I've already explained who owns the company, and in fact more than 60% of the company belongs to Malaysia, not to the Chinese. Like the ECRL, the Bandar Malaysia project would be viewed within the larger context of fostering and cementing long-term bilateral relations. As you can see, we have tackled 4 major problems which resulted from the last administration. They have taken money, and the money cannot be traced as to where it is, and government had to help people like the Felda settlers by making available some funds. Now the rating agencies says that this giving $6 billion to rescue the tabung haji is wrong, and they may downgrade Malaysia. But when Malaysia owned $1 trillion, there was no talk about downgrading. This is strange, because actually we have saved the government a lot of money through all this solving the problems of ECRL, Felda, Tabung Haji, and now Bandar Malaysia. So, well, I suppose the rating agencies have got their own way or their own criteria, but what is a fact is that the previous government owed huge amounts of money that will cause a deficit for years and years in the budget, but they retain the ratings. But now that we are trying to solve this problem, we are told that it is the wrong move. But of course, we will be able to recover most of the investments, or solve most of the problems of the investment within some months after the signing of the ECRL contract. Okay? And then, yes?
Since the contract already terminated, the original contract already terminated for Bandar Malaysia, why the Bandar Malaysia project is not open tender again?
No, they would have been unfairly terminated. Actually, the company, the contractor to develop this Bandar Malaysia is partly government. 40% belongs to the government. So if we open tender, we may not get. Somebody else may get. But if we have been unfair to them, so we have decided to restitute them and give them the right, the chance to develop Bandar Malaysia. But it will change. We will include 10,000 affordable housing. We will have a park there, and we'll use Malaysian material for the development of this Bandar Malaysia.
So just now you were saying about rating agency saying giving $6 billion to Tabung Haji or to Felda will downgrade. Is it? Because you were saying about giving to Tabung Haji just now.
Tabung Haji normally declares dividend, but they have no money for the dividend. So the government has got to come to the rescue. With regard to Felda, it is not the giving money, it is rearranging their schedules and going back to good practice, not like before where the settlers were able to practically steal the fruits, because the Felda the Felda planted the plant, but when it is bearing fruit, they take the fruit for themselves. It doesn't belong to them.
Then when you said that you want to amalgamate holdings with the settlers, are you talking about asking settlers to diversify into other crops? Or what do you mean by that?
No, we find that just planting one crop is a risk, a big risk, because when the price of palm oil, for example, goes down, they suffer. So the new policy on agriculture is to have mixed farming. If you have even if you have 10 acres of land, you plant with one crop, but there must be other cash crops, so that when the time is bad, they can earn some money from other crops.
So how much is the cost to restart the Bandar Malaysia you're looking at?
How much is the cost? Well, the same company will have to work that out, but obviously they are going to pay us for the land that they have acquired, and from then on they will initiate construction, but not based on their plan, based on a new plan that will have to be redrawn so as to give place for low-cost houses as well, not just luxury buildings.
So the consortium would have a 60% stake as before. The consortium, the IWH and CREC will have a 60% stake as before, or would that be renegotiated?
No, they have only, actually, the Chinese CREC has only 24%. The rest belongs to Malaysian. Of the part that belongs to Malaysian, 40% is the government, and about 20-something% belongs to a company which invested.
Will it still be housing the terminus for HSR? Because Bandar Malaysia was built, the Dry China Railway is in. But will it
We'll
be
keep that in mind, so that if we do build a HSR, there will be sufficient room for the station.
About the HHR, China has shown their interest. So would you discuss with China in your next week visit to Beijing?
So what interest?
in taking part in building the HSR?
Yes, to win the HHR.
HSR has been postponed for 2 years. This we negotiated with Singapore, and we had to pay some compensation for that. We had 2 years to think about what to do with the HSR. It has not been given out. The contract has not been given out. So we don't know whether it will be the Chinese, the Germans, or the Japanese. But once we realign and work out a new way of having the HSR that is not too expensive, then we will give out the contract. Now there is no contract given, excepting that Singapore has invested in the terminal in Singapore.
So can you comment on FTSE Russell to withdraw Malaysia from the global government global bond index and the potential outflow due to that announcement?
We have withdrawn.
Potential to be withdrawn from the global.
Yeah, that is the report by rating agencies. It's not by us. We have no intention to withdraw.
Thank you.
So I'm just wondering for Bandar Malaysia, has there been any new takers, anyone else interested to invest in that area?
No, we feel that we have done a wrong thing for the company. We think we should return it to the company. Okay. Apa dia? Macam biasa lah, courtesy call. Orang baru, kita jumpa lah. Thank you.
Can I ask about the Chief Justice appointment? There was a report saying that there's some delay on appointing the Chief
It
Justice.
seems that there is a provision for the appointment to be submitted to the Majlis Raja-Raja and not just to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. We have informed the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, but there is a need for them to inform the other rulers, so that is being done now. We're waiting for them to give their approval, and then we will inform. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.